Welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Shareece, and I wanted to do this Hot Topics video mostly because I wanted to talk about the Grammys because beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I do not consider myself a Beyonce stan, but I love Beyonce, and somehow I find myself defending Beyonce when I don't mean to defend Beyonce because I'm not even that invested, but I am invested. So when she won the country album of the year, and she was like, I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so Beyonce. I've been following Beyonce since she was in Destiny's Child. When people started saying, oh, she knew, she's pretending. I was just like, why? Why would she pretend? Like, why would she pretend? I think she very much expected the album of the year. Okay, right? She didn't look surprised when that happened. Everything after her husband gave that speech, where he said a lot of things. It wasn't just about her. It was like the Grammys appreciating Black art, that kind of thing. Especially when we have this train of Oscars so white. To me, it all fits. And, I'm not even a fan of Jay-Z, but I love Beyonce. I think that she should have gotten Album of the Year for Renaissance or like for her self-titled album because impeccable. I mean, the storytelling, the creativity. Beyonce is one of the hardest working people in it. Like her eye for detail, her level of perfection. Right? I mostly relate to Beyonce because of the perfectionism and having to, like, in my own self, not attach that to worth. Like, we can do a thing and it doesn't have to be perfect and I'm still like really good. I just really love Beyonce. And so that's mostly why I wanted to do this video. I just want to talk about how proud I am, how impressed I am, how beautiful I think it is having her daughter there. I just thought it was so great. And then at the end of 2024, I became a fan of Kendrick Lamar. I mourned the end of Drake's career. Like, oh my goodness. Like, I'm sad, right? I'm sad about Drake being knocked from his pedestal, but such is life. And, good luck to him in Australia. I don't really know how that's going, but he's carving a path for himself, but I don't think he's ever going to come back, right, to like the top of rap unless he does like a lot of deep introspection, his own spiritual journey, and respects the art form in a way that he really hasn't. That's that. And then the other person I was very impressed with is Doechii. So because I'm a Black woman, and because I love Black women, I've known about Doechii a long time. Similarly to like the City Girls, I don't know if her music was for me, right? When, she has like a song called Spooky Coochie. Like, the content of it is, very grungy, very, young 20-something is really who she's making songs for. But I love art and music, and she's definitely extremely artistic. So my first introduction to her was around music videos. Her music videos are so well curated and thought out and planned, extremely detailed. Like, everything is on purpose with intention. So I've been watching her music videos, when they come out, whenever. I don't know, I can't even tell you when I first knew about Doechii. She's been, like, let's say for the last 5 years, she's been climbing, right? I think every year she's gotten more and more popular. And this year, coming out at the Grammys, she did another performance, the BET Awards, and then she did Tyler the Creator's vlog. No, I think that's what it was. I think those things in succession. And then if you haven't seen her Tiny Desk concert, you need to see it. And then also Stephen Colbert is one of the white men I really, really like. She also did a performance there. You can see just the creativity and the attention to detail and the respect for art, not just in rap, but also, I think she comes from like a theater music background. Impressive. Like, when they say, because I'm not like a Black excellence type person, and highlighting this to me is more like an inspiration, not necessarily these are the only people who need to be celebrated. I very much encourage you in your like regular life to just be regular if you want to, and that is amazing and wonderful. Like, you don't have to be on a Grammy stage. You don't have to ever, want to not be like a local artist or something. But I do think, one of the best things people can do is live their life as an inspiration to other people. Part of why I share my own personal journey on this channel. People need to see that you can be whatever you want to be. If you want to fly high, then you can do it too. And Doechii, she's just like 26. I think, oh my goodness, like, she has a long career ahead of her. And because she's so skilled and respecting of the art form, I could see her lasting a very long time. So like, I'm very excited to see what her next project is going to be. I've only just started listening to like whole albums, right? Because she's not making music for me. It's kind of like Glorilla. I like that Glorilla is so authentic to who she is, but also she's not making music for me. I can't, not that I can't, but I'm not really interested in listening to that album over and over again. I did listen to the Alligator Bites Never Heal from Doechii three times. That's probably enough for me. I have to go back to GNX and go back to Beyonce's country album, Coward Card. Like the flow of that album even is just it's for me. I'm like 45 on the inside, 65 on some days, just like emotionally and spiritually. So the content of those kinds of songs speak more to me, but I respect the art form that other people are doing. You know, the other last thing about the Grammys is Kanye West. Now, I have a soft spot for Kanye West. That's mostly because my father also has like significant mental health problems, and I still love him, right? I still love my father, and I still have love for Kanye, the human being. I acknowledge that is it anti-Semitism? I acknowledge that he's problematic, okay? I always look at it through the lens of mental health, and like he has like a lot of issues. So I am not really easily offended for anything, but it's not like it's not like he's Donald Trump. I don't know what's the difference there. Maybe I don't have a soft spot for Donald Trump because he's white, but also I don't think Donald Trump has clearly identifiable mental health problems. I just think he's selfish and doesn't care about people and is really only looking after himself and only interested in money and rich people and what other people can do for him. I just really think Kanye West self-sabotages. I think even what he did with like Taylor Swift after his mom died, I really think he harms other people, but there's no one he harms more than himself. And so that's the way I look at it. And so when I see him, it's hard to have like a visceral anger or negativity towards him. Like maybe I feel pity. Maybe I just feel like I wish, right? I wish he would get help. I wish he would take his meds. I wish, I don't know, that he would find God, right? He's so connected to, he's not connected to God, but he's so interested in God and Jesus. You would think he would do some of that diving deeper. Because I think people are calling him a genius because of like this spiritual connection thing. You know, I'm thinking of like dimensions and some of the things that he maybe would never say on camera or whatever. Okay, so Kanye West calls himself a fashion designer. Not that he hasn't had fashions in the past, but he had his new wife, she's not that new, but his wife after Kim, in one of his designed pieces. It was like a stocking dress, so it was completely see-through, and he had her unveil it on the Grammys carpet. Like, he didn't even go into the Grammys, he just did that as a stunt and then left. When I saw it, when I heard about it, I did not think she was actually naked. All right, the way people were describing it, I envisioned pasties, a thong, right, the see-through dress kind of thing. But when I saw it, and right, it's like vulva is out, areolas are out, nipples are out, I was shocked. And dare I say disgusted? I was disturbed. I instantly thought about, right, I consider myself to be sex positive. I know a lot about sex education, porn, like the dark places that kind of content can go. And I thought about dom sub culture, right? So how much of that do I want to get into here? Just that there are people with kinks and dominatrix vibes and right and shame, like who want to be shamed. It's not like is it a want? It's like an internal drive that is a result of the way they think about themselves. So Bianca Censori, I am on the train of people who are not going to absolve her of her agency. She is actively participating in this. I know people want to say like, blink twice, girl, if you need help. I I think she would blink twice if she needed help. I don't think she wants help. I think this is exactly where she wants to be. And if you've never, listen, for research purposes, right? If you've never looked at some of that what do they call it? I don't think they call it slave. There's another word for it where people want to be spitted on, they want to be shamed, they want to be in pain, they want to, in this sexual environment, they want negativity. Right? They want to be strapped down. They want somebody to have domination over them. That's a real thing. And I don't think everybody who does that is a slave. I don't think everybody, I think there are lots of women and men who, in sober mind, consented to it and said, this is exactly what I want. This is how I get off. This is what I want. I don't think Kanye and his wife are really like enjoying. I don't know. I want to say enjoying sex. It's not enjoying sex. It's just, I don't think they are healthy, right? And so I don't think their sex life is healthy either. That's none of our business, except when he bring her naked on the carpet to show us. Like, I don't want to see that. What kind of disturbing, who was this for? What was the point of this? To direct eyes to your new album, which I'm not listening to. I'm not listening to any of this dark art. No, he's coming from a very toxic, unwell mind. I'm not then gonna listen to that music and put it into my being. There's no way. But I was very disturbed by it, and I'm just very curious, like, what happens next for Kanye after all of this like, he's not well. Like, does he continue spiraling? I often wonder about men when their testosterone levels start to drop, what happens, right? Like, will his wife leave him? Will he become more depressed? Like, I don't know. It was just very disturbing. I also want to talk about tonight's conversation, but I didn't want to do a whole video on it. I had thought about reframing Keita Rose's story about what happened to her and doing a separate video on it, but I don't think I care enough. And I think it's just like, it's toxic all around. This is one of those situations where what is her point in sharing her story? Because I think she is acknowledging her own level of responsibility and failure in her boundaries, her confidence, like her self-esteem. But the way she's framing it and the way that she tells stories, I think glosses over the fact that she needs professional help too, right? Like, Ace metaphor is messed up. I'm a psychologist. I'm not calling anyone any clinical terms if I have not evaluated them personally. And if I've evaluated them personally, they're not going to be content on my channel. So I hear people throwing around the word narcissist. Y'all love to do that. I don't know if the man is or is not. I clearly can see a man who lies, a man who manipulates, a man who takes advantage of, right? That does not necessarily mean personality disorder. You need like a long pervasive history for it. And maybe he meets criteria, but I definitely cannot say that. I've never evaluated the man. So if you're going through interactions with a man who is disrespectful to you and you stay there, there's a reason you stay there. And even if it's, we can compare this to like a woman who's in an abusive romantic relationship, staying in the relationship, she knows it's not good. Usually she knows it's not good. Sometimes there's so much denial that she thinks, oh, I can fix this, oh, I can endure this, or if I just try a little bit hard enough, then things will work out. Keita Rose, I think, also had some of those similar interactions when dealing with this man. I wouldn't be surprised if also in her romantic relationship, if also in her friendships, she didn't have this dynamic of also being manipulated and taken advantage of, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And people love to separate the two. Like, it's just in this work environment that I had this difficulty. But I think she did, Keita Rose, talk about her own like previous abusive relationship maybe. But this woman has so much healing to do. I did see a clip of her when she was doing a live talking to another person who had been on the show, and she was talking, the other woman who was with her was mentioning the kind of abusive language that Ace metaphor was using, and this lady couldn't talk anymore. Like Keita Rose could not talk anymore because she was so triggered and hurt by the pain of those memories. Like, that is trauma. That's trauma. You need a trauma specialist to process that pain outside of your body. And that probably isn't the beginning and end of where her trauma is. To stay in an abusive workplace relationship, you have to think, I must endure. Like, the thoughts that go, you think anybody could talk to me kind of crazy in any kind of way? You really think if I was in a job, listen, I quit jobs for fun. I quit jobs just because y'all encroaching on my time. You think I'm gonna let another person disrespect me and I'm gonna stay there? There's no way. I have way too much self-worth. My self-esteem is too high, and I know I can do better somewhere else. I know that God is working things around in my life, so I do not have to stay there. But if you don't have that mentality, if you don't view yourself as, capable of reaching the heights, like she gave the example of, Kita Rose gave the example of, Ace Metaphor called her every day to get her merch because he was telling her that he could market it for her, he could help make her some money, she won't have to lug it around. But the way she told this story, I think, doesn't highlight the fact that you gave in and you haven't explained why you gave in. But she's like, in a moment of weakness, and I was having this bad, whatever was happening in the ancillary in her life that led her to say yes to it. But there needs to be more emphasis on the fact that no means no, and you need to figure out, why is it so hard for you to maintain your no? Why is it so hard to walk away from that? Because it sounded like tonight's conversation imploded, and that's why she left. It's not like she left of her own volition, which is just very difficult. But everything they're saying about that man, I think, is very believable. Somebody asked me about this looking in the eye things, because I keep saying, when you look into the eyes, the eyes are the windows of the soul. You can get a sense of the energy that somebody carries, the values that they have. It's not like I don't mind read, but I have literally no explanation for how can you look in someone's eyes. I think it's very much about intuiting and being in touch with your own emotions, that you can look at someone, give them that eye contact, even in video, and see what is the essence of that person. Is this a trustworthy person? Is this an honest person? Is this a person who harms people or not? And I think it's very clear that Ace Metaphor is one of those people. I don't know who's one of those people that hasn't been exposed that I could talk about. I do have an idea of how I could do this video of like before and after whatever happened to a person that changed them. There are some people, I think, that arrived on the scene with negativity and toxicity, and so there's no before to see. But the video I did on Hines, where I have what that man name is on the cover. I don't talk about him in the video, but I have his face on the thumbnail to go over like spiritual gurus who are, imperfect, but like, what is it? Like, how did I know that Hines was not being honest? How did I know? I don't know. How did I know? There were a few things. I could pinpoint a few things, but how do I know Ace Metaphor when I've never watched like a lot of his content? How do I know he's like one of those people who is not doing what they say, right? The advice that they give to people is just lip service, and they're not actually living that truth of kindness and love and integrity. It's clear, but I'm still figuring out like how to do a video topic on that. Moving on to Married to Medicine, I decided not to do episode by episode review of it because I can't. I just can't. It is very hard to enjoy the entertainment piece about the show when I'm analyzing it for authenticity and truth. It's easier to watch when I'm just viewing it as entertainment. It's just silly. It's just a produced show. But when I review it, I feel like I constantly have to acknowledge I'm missing information. I don't know what's really going on, how much of this is real, how much of this has been cut out, what do we have to infer. I think they cut these shows in a way as to foster the most engagement and conversation so that they can trend on social media, so that they can bring more eyes to the show, which is a smart business move, but I think it makes it difficult for us to really analyze the problems. But here I am. I'm not doing an episode by episode, but here I am talking about Quad, because I'm definitely team Quad, okay? Anyone who's been in an abusive relationship and has done a level of healing, Quad didn't attract King by mistake. And I'm sure King is not perfect. He's human like the rest of us. But when I see King look at Quad, when I see him hold his stable, when I see him posture as a solid rock next to her, I'm like, this man really loves her. I follow Bungie Dineva. I follow Heavenly, and so to me it's very clear there's consistency from them that's a real relationship. But also I feel the energy of Quad and this man interacting, that it very clearly looks like a relationship where people genuinely love each other. You compare that to what Phaedra is doing with that young man, whatever, and I think it's very clear one is real and one is fake. Quad, so what I've noticed that I want to highlight is you all don't have enough emotional language to talk about what is actually happening. Oftentimes the word is jealousy, but that's not the emotion that's actually being felt. I can't discount that maybe jealousy is part of what Dr. G is feeling about watching Quad, but I don't think he wants, right? Like jealousy and envy is like you look at what somebody else has and you're like, I want that. I do not think he wants Quad. I do not think he doesn't want her to be happy. I think all of those things are true. Similarly, why would Quad be jealous, right? Jealous is wanting what the other person has, feeling an envy for what the other person has, or a lack in yourself. Why would Quad want what Sweet Tea has? She divorced Dr. G. Also, Sweet Tea and I are the same age. Sweet Tea very much gives 50, okay? This lady acts, sounds, looks much older than she is. I'm sure she has like youthful, because of like the age that she grew up in, there are things that she does that can appear more youthful or are more youthful to Dr. G, like her immaturity. But I don't know, why would Quad looks younger than Sweet Tea, or like the same age at the least, and Quad is a decade plus older than Sweet Tea. There's no reason really to support jealousy, but I understand that you all are noticing that there's unresolved pain. Yes, there was a lot of trauma in that relationship. And if you think of yourself being in the same room as your ex, why would I want to be in the same room as my ex? I haven't done it, so I really have no idea how I would respond. I want to imagine that I would pay dust, but there was so much pain in that relationship. And then when you get to a point where somebody is invalidating your experience, like, why would I not act up? It was very clear that Quad was picking at Dr. G. She didn't talk about busting. She used very specific language. She was talking about busting it wide open. And yes, these are some things that she does anyway. Like she talks, she's very entertaining. I really enjoy Quad. She's very entertaining. She's very dramatic. But I thought it was very clear that she is specifically saying those things because Dr. G, and like going on and on and on about it, because she's drunk and Dr. G is there and she wants to get back at him because now she has a man. A good man, okay? This is a man that is obsessed with her. And last year, there was nobody like to cover her or protect her. And it was all new. I think she was more focused on not losing her cool. But this year, man, I can do what I want. I have a whole man here next to me who's gonna make sure I'm good and that nobody takes over. Because do y'all remember when Dr. Eugene would talk to Quad? There's no way, and I'm like so happy that she has somebody now. There's no way any man on that cast would disrespect Quad in that same way as Dr. Eugene did when he was frustrated with her. There's a way he could have checked her, but the way he went at her, like the vitriol is too strong of a word, but the passion is not an accurate word either. The energy that was negative that came from Dr. Eugene in checking Quad, asking about why does she hate him and Toya so much? Like, I don't think she hated him, but there was some frustration and conflict there. I just hated the way he talked to her, and I love that she has King there. But yes, Quad definitely was egging him, picking him, trying to trigger him. I do believe that she was trying to trigger him, and it worked. It worked partly because there's a group of people there, there's an audience, and then Toya pointing out the elephant in the room, which is something I would do. Yeah, you say all of this and your ex-husband is right there. Like, I'm wondering how he's feeling about it. I would say something like that too. Like, we're all really uncomfortable and he looks uncomfortable. Why are you not stopping, girl? Why are you doing this? Sweet Tea very much seemed unfazed. I think she's believed whatever Dr. G told her about Quad, which, I don't know, that he was over her and doesn't care what she does or what she thinks. None of that is true. He very much cares because he was very hurt by their marriage as well. But she thought he was over it. And when she said, you're not even taking your own advice, right? You're giving this advice about be cool, be good, which, I mean, it definitely did look like he was losing it. Be good, be good, be good, over and over again. And just stop. Just like, she was not the one that was going on and on. Whatever back and forth that she had with Quad, I think she was not doing it from like an emotional loss of control point. She was just talking because we're in a group and we're answering these questions and we're just talking. But he wanted her to stop talking so that Quad would stop talking because he was so triggered by what Quad was saying. But then when he was like, you have a big mouth, shut the F up. You are the one that lost it. You are the one that needed to be good. And so I think he was talking to himself in that moment when he was talking about be good, be good. But the things that he did in that situation are the same things that we literally saw him do with Quad. Now, Quad, in her marriage, like, there were so many things wrong, and the withholding sex for 3 years and not wanting to have a baby. Like, there were so many pain points from both sides in that relationship. And then the way that it ended so violently, them fighting each other and all of that, it's just very unfortunate. But I am rooting for Quad's happiness. It's hard to say I care about Doechii. For a woman who knows that she has reproductive issues, like she knows her reproductive organs are not working in the way that they should. She doesn't know what's wrong, but she knows that she bleeds heavily for weeks at a time and that there's all this pain. For a woman like that to jump in a DM and say, I'm leaving a baby emoji is very disturbing. But I think she has the same vibration as Dr. G. I think they, like Quad said, which was not a compliment, they are made for each other. And eventually, I think Doechii is gonna grow and leave Dr. G too. But I hope there's no physical violence happening. But if there is, I definitely hope King wins. What do you mean? What do you mean? Quad is that girl. She really is. Quad is that girl. She didn't rush into a relationship after her, not that Dr. G did. I don't think he rushed into this relationship, but she has practiced a level of growth. And yes, she's unhealed in some ways and would benefit from therapy to process the trauma from her relationship. King acknowledges that. I thought it was so beautiful that he acknowledged, this is part of the process. He's right. If you never say it out loud, and if sometimes you need to say it to the person, sometimes you need to be there with them and tell them you did me wrong. You were so bad, and just say it out loud. Oftentimes that is very helpful for the healing process. You don't always have to say it to the person. Sometimes you can write a letter and burn it or throw it away. Sometimes you just need to tell a person like me who's gonna hold space for you and respect you and validate you in the trauma. But other times you have to tell them. Like, if you have access to them, if it was your mother or a cousin or an ex or whatever, and you have access to them, sometimes it's so powerful to say out loud, you did me wrong. You were so bad to me, and that's the truth. That's it. Not to get them to acknowledge it or agree, but just to say it out loud. So in that way, I'm rooting for Quad, because she would not have attracted a man like King, who I do not think is a scammer. I don't think he's a scammer. I think he's an upstanding man. You would not have attracted a man like that who would then hold space for you, and even in your ugliness. Because if we're talking about real relationships, all this dating advice is talking about the first 3 months. After we get to the nitty gritty, I'm about to be with my boyfriend almost 2 years. After we get past this honeymoon stage, and it's you, the stuff you came with, the real you, the good, bad, and the ugly, I'm loving you regardless. I'm committed to you regardless. And so this is one of the dark parts of Quad. But this man is saying, this is part of her process, and I'm like, I'm gonna stand beside her. I'm here for her. And I love it. I love it. So in that way, I'm definitely Team Quad. And then my last 2 points are about public figures giving their relationship drama to the internet, or as content. So I'm not watching WAGS to Riches. I don't have time for trash. But there's a woman there who I think was on another reality show called Sherelle, who was doing an interview with, was it Carlos King? And I didn't watch that interview, but I've been watching Little Black Book 91 because I respect men who are doing pretty balanced content. And so I was just checking to see what his thoughts are on whatever is going on. And she mentioned the way she got with Chad, Ocho, Cinco. I also think it's funny that we can't say Chad without saying Ocho, Cinco. Chad, Ocho, Cinco, and leaving a previous long-term relationship where she was on and off, on and off again. Toxic relationship, lots of drama. The man cheated on her, and in a moment of frustration or anger or sadness, weakness, after one of the occasions that her ex cheated on her, she DM'd Chad, heart eyes, and she said he responded right back. So I wanted to make a point about women who cheat back. Why y'all don't leave? And I already know the answer to this question, but for you who might be watching, who's cheating back or in this very toxic relationship, understand that it probably will not get better. The best thing you can do is become the best version of yourself when you're in relationships like this. Focus on being honest for you, because it really does impact you on the inside. Focus on doing the things that you actually want to do in life. Focus on being a good person. Focus on ways in which you can improve yourself. That's what the focus should be. And you will figure out if the relationship needs to end, which it probably will, or if it will get better. But if it gets better, then, you know, it's worth it to focus on improving yourself. I just thought it was so interesting that cheating is something that's a theme in her relationship, but I also know that lots of people cheat because they lack the emotional maturity and the communication skills to ask for what they need and express themselves in a healthy way. It's sad, but it's true. And so similarly, the next two couples, the first thing that came to my mind was, y'all know that the internet is public, right? Y'all know the internet is public. Why? And I understand prominent figures wanting to get ahead of the story or being accountable to their fans, but sometimes it's like, nobody asked you for this. Can you take us out of the group chat? Because why do we need to know any of this? I'm so curious. Like, think Remy Ma. That's not who really came to mind, but think like Remy Ma. Why was their breakup so public? Why? Like, you have a girlfriend, I have a boyfriend. Why? Like, why is that so public? Because there were rumors going around and you didn't want the story to sound like you were the bad guy in this interaction? Like, I don't get it. But anyway, the people are Matt Barnes' girlfriend, Anansa, did this whole list of women that he cheated on her with. She said 8 different women in 1 month, which may or may not be true. Once you get to the point of like 8 women in 1 month, you've been paying attention for a while, right? That he is a liar and a cheater. If a man is a liar and a cheater and will do it with so many women, y'all haven't talked about it? Did y'all talk about, like, when you first suspected, did you ever confront him about it? Like, did y'all ever have the conversation about what you want, what I want? Do we want an open relationship? This don't sound like open relationship. This definitely sounds like sex addiction, low self-esteem on Matt's part. But you don't get to partner with a man who has low self-esteem without you also having low self-esteem and enduring this. So what was the point of publicizing all of the women that you suspect that he's been having sex with in 1 month? Especially when you're probably gonna stay with him. I don't know. I think they've been together and had like drama. Like, this can't be the first time you know about him cheating. Like, I highly doubt it. And a man that travels so much or is gone, are y'all talking before he goes to bed? Like, regular relationship stuff. Is he checking in with you when he gets to the hotel, back from the airport? Are y'all lovey-doveying on the phone before he goes to bed at night? Are y'all staying on the phone for hours? Like, how is there such a lack of communication that you don't know or you knew? Like, what do you want us to do about it? Like, why are you telling us? And similarly with Liangelo Ball, that whole family seems like real toxic. Isn't their mom and dad still together? I don't know. I didn't check before I did this video. But so toxic. The man definitely, the father of these Ball sons, I think propped them up to be basketball players. But I'm not sure he fostered anything else inside of them. Like, as a man, it's great that you have a skill, but as a man, do you have the discipline, the integrity, the emotional intelligence to function in this world, especially when it comes to the partner that you're going to choose and be with? And so I think the Liangelo is in his early 20s, maybe mid 20s by now, and his girlfriend was like 10 years older than him. And the woman that he's cheating on his girlfriend with now is even older than his first baby. I actually don't know how many kids he has, but let's say he just has the 2 kids with Nikki. And I don't know where Nikki comes from. I think she was on a reality show. She just had a baby. So they have a toddler and a 2 or 4 month old, something like that. For a man, oh my gosh. Why did she bring this information to us on social media? Maybe because people, again, were talking about it, whispering. I just don't feel like, even if I was famous, I don't think I need to come to the public to say, yes, you all are right, he's cheating on me. Why? Why would you do that? People who grew up with social media in this like fashion, like Instagram, I do wonder, like, y'all know it's public. You know everybody's gonna see this. What is the purpose? We cannot help you. This is not gonna change anything. What's the reason? Really, I don't get it. So she did that, and then the new girlfriend came out and also did, and I got this all from Ronnie the Voice. I love Ronnie the Voice. I am waiting for him to do a Patreon, encouraging him. but he covers these topics. I love the way he shares about this information, but he cites the sources and the information that's there, the screenshots, all the things. So, you know, filtered through him, but then also the original post content. I think it's very sad, like all the way around, the children involved, that a woman can be literally postpartum, just stopped bleeding, and the father of the kids is over with another woman who's also putting it on the internet that she's with him, bragging in a way. Listen, when women are still in competition, when women are still male identified and view their worth as, if I'm better than her, then I'm good. You have to understand that the man that is attracted to that is ain't man. Like, he is no good. He's no good. Oh my gosh. Like, he uses women. And this is not just about Liangelo, but like men who are attracted to male identified women who view their worth as in competition with other women. And if I'm better than her, then I won and I'm good. The man that likes that does not like women. He does not respect women. He uses women. So he's going to use you too. Like, you're a ploy in his plot. And it's unfortunate, but he is going to leave you too. Probably after you, because what often happens after women have a baby, they need so much more support. Whatever they stood for before they have children changes after they have children. They need things. They need you to listen to them, to support them, to go out and get things for them. Like, they need things. So things that they were doing on their own before, once children come into it, they are helping the kids and they need you to help them. If you're not going to help them, then it's like, I mean, women often suffer in silence, right? They don't bring it to social media. They don't need to, but they often suffer in silence because, oh, I thought I won. You ain't won. You won a man who uses women. And so this woman is going to learn pretty quickly. I don't know. There are lots of women that stay with men. There's a woman that was on another, I think it's a basketball wife. If you all remember the woman who was on Iyanla Van Zant, or her husband was on there and he admitted to having sex with like 300 women or something like that. Like, they are still married. I do not think those people act. I don't think they, when you go look at her page, when you go look at his page, I don't think they are in a relationship. I think they're married, but I think they're just married, just to say they're married. I don't think they like each other or love each other or hold hands or look into each other's eyes longingly or whisper sweet nothings in the middle of the night. I don't think. I don't know, but I don't think. Okay, this is one of those things with the eyes and just the content where it just seems like y'all are married on paper, but the covenant of marriage you all are not really adhering to. And so maybe he's been allowed to have another woman, maybe she's been allowed to have another man, or maybe they just have agreed that until the child is a certain age, then we'll break up or something like that. That usually is what happens, right? That even a woman who says she's just gonna stick it out or stay married just because, often when all the kids leave the home, it is very difficult to stay in the marriage, because then you're like, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing this? Man, good luck to all the people. That is my hot topics. Let me know if there's any other topic that's going on that you are curious to hear my thoughts on. I am encouraging people to not just do things that feel therapeutic, but also go to therapy, which is actually healing when you do the work. Like, you don't have to go to therapy to heal, but it's a similar format where you tell your story, where someone else holds space for you, where you get the validation, where you acknowledge the ways in which you need to grow. That really makes the difference in the long term. I'm rooting for everybody Black. Much peace and love, right? Blessings to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video with somebody who cares about a psychologist's opinion on the hot topics of it all. And thank you for watching.